Hi, my name is Scott Robinson, and I was lucky enough to be in Jack's first full-time photojournalism class at Western back in 1977. I bet I'm not the first person to say this today, nor the last, but I owe my photography career to Jack Korn. Full stop. Even before that first class, there was a buzz around campus about this guy who was teaching the photojournalism class. Word was he used to be a staff photographer at the Tennessean in Nashville. I remember thinking, this guy's a big deal, and I bet Jack would have hated that label. One of the things that was different to me about Jack's PJ class was it was kind of competitive right out of the gate. Each week before class, the students would turn in our assignments, little black and white prints in an envelope. Jack would stand in front of the class, one by one, opening up those envelopes, and show everybody what you'd shot for that week's assignments. Even worse, he'd line them up on the chalkboard in front of the class, the good ones on the left and the bad ones on the right. During the semester, a lot of times their critiques weren't very pleasant, and a few times it was really horrible. You learned there was a price to pay if you didn't give the assignment your best effort. That sense of competition that was instilled in those early classes must have really struck a nerve with me because I realized I really liked the competition. Fast forward to March 6, 1978. I'm now a photographer on the school newspaper. The staff is having a chili party. Jack's at the party and he gets a phone call. He seems pretty serious and pulls out that little black Nikon date book and began taking notes. Jack gets off the phone, tells us he's just got an assignment from John Derniak, the famous picture editor at Time magazine, and it had to be shot that night. Everything began to move very quickly about that time. Jack said Derniak knew he was with students and said Jack could take 3 of the students with him on assignment. Mark Lyons, Jim Burton, and I were the luckiest guys at the party. Jim Burton had the best car of the group. We piled in for Owensboro, Kentucky, and we got a speeding ticket right off the bat. That night, then President Jimmy Carter was going to address the nation on TV at 10 p.m. to end the 81-day coal miners' strike. Our Time magazine assignment was to photograph coal miners watching the news on a TV at a bar. I remember asking Jack, so Jack, we go to the bar and there's men at the bar. How do we know which ones are coal miners? He said, if they're at the bar, they're coal miners. Plain and simple. We arrived in town just a few minutes before the 10 o'clock news. We split up into 2 groups. Mark and Jack went to one bar, and Jim Burton and I went to the second location. We had just a few minutes to walk in, introduce ourselves, and start shooting. In a flash, it was over. We reassembled, drove back to Western where we processed the film so Jack could transmit the pictures to New York. That night changed my life. Little did I know, in a dozen years, I'd be getting Time magazine assignments on my own. Jack and Helen have been part of my life ever since. They know my wife and they've watched my kids grow up. When Jack came to D.C. in 2013 to be honored at the National Archives, my whole family came to see his talk. He was more than a mentor. He was family.